You are listening to WBHM, Digital Broadcasting, the best in paranormal talk only on Paranormal Experience Radio. Broadcasting live out of Birmingham, Alabama.
It's Wednesday night, time for the Paranormal Experience radio show with host Kat Hobson. Kick back, relax, and get ready to learn. Welcome to the show. Now, here's Kat.
Good evening. Welcome to Paranormal Experience. I am your host, Kat Hobson. You're listening to WBHM Digital Broadcasting out of Birmingham, Alabama, and I so appreciate you being here tonight. I want to just go ahead and say straight up that let's keep those people in California in our thoughts, because I have never seen anything like what they're going through, and I can't even imagine. All these people who are still missing, I know that some of them are in shelters, some of them fled, and they haven't been able to reach out yet. I'm hoping that's going to be the majority. But we just need to keep them in our prayers and thoughts and flow healing that way too. Now, tonight's guest is someone I'm very interested in talking with, because we met through a mutual friend, Tom Comwell. He is just been too much fun to learn about. He is a paranormal investigator who kind of got tossed into ufology. He has personal experiences that brought him into the field and things that make it matter a whole lot to him. And when you sit back and you have something happen in your life that makes you question kind of everything that you believed, everything you've been taught, it makes you puzzled, and then it makes you dedicated. And I'm interested just in having the opportunity to have this conversation. And Bobby Osterhaudt, thank you so much for being here.
Oh, thank you so much for having me.
You know, I was very pleased when you said that you would like to come on. You're not really reticent. You're a very forthcoming person, but trying to get information on your background is not really an easy thing. And so I'm just interested in learning about you even more than I was able to.
Yeah, I'm not a very outward type and person. You know, I tend to stay pretty private. Mm-hmm. I don't, have a whole lot of stuff out there as far as, promoting myself as a paranormal investigator. But, I usually just go by word of mouth and through friends. And I kind of like it that way.
Well, it's a good thing to do, I think, because you don't feel like people are coming to you to gain something, or because they think that if you're doing this, that, or the other, then you must have all the answers about spiritual, paranormal, because I sure don't.
Yeah, nobody has the answers. Nobody has all the answers.
I've learned a lot doing this from talking with people like you and, some of the leaders in the field. It's just a real blessing to be able to do that, but goodness gracious, there's so much more to learn.
Absolutely.
Do you want to share how you got involved in doing this?
Yeah, sure. I studied theology for a good part of 20 years, and I was pretty sold out to that. The whole, concept of being saved, born again, and the theological part on the covenant side of theology, not the dispensational, but covenant. And I was pretty sold out on that. And then, back in February of 2003, I had a terrible experience. I lost my son, who was a twin, in a car accident. And what happened within that first 24 hours of his death kind of sent me for a loop, because he came back. And, that's not supposed to happen. To be absent from the body is to be present with the Lord. There is no in between. There is no hanging out. And that's what I believe. So this kind of sent me for a loop and left me with a lot of questions. I thought, well, maybe I might have been a little emotional. Of course, there was a lot of stress with that, emotional stress. But I'm not one to hallucinate or to be taken by, something like that. It just wasn't me. So I had to, rethink my whole position on what this whole thing is all about. And what I mean by whole thing, I mean everything in the universe. Yes. Not just, the paranormal or anything else, but really the way this whole thing works. I mean, I dove into, books by Einstein and Hawking's and Carl Sagan. I read all these kind of books. I even, started looking at Harry Price and his writings, one of his books, and how he got all into all this. And I just started on that path. I needed to find answers for myself. How did this happen? Why did it happen? Will it happen again? Will I have any other kind of experiences with others who have passed? And how are they able to actually present themselves to us? And why? Why are they still here? Why do these things happen in general? So that sent me on a mission. It's been a long mission since 2003, and here we are today. After all the studying I did on my own and not really having any direction or somebody guiding me, of course I got into the pop culture side of the paranormal. Getting all these gadgets and
it's hard not to.
Right, doing things in the dark. Because I figured, well, I might be able to see them better in the dark. And just, doing those things that you would see on TV. And
did you do it because that was what you had seen and considered to be the methodology needed?
Right. It was like, well, these guys are doing it this way, and, this show's doing it that way. And, and I started picking up books by like Lloyd Auerbach. Mm-hmm. And, I started
the professor of the paranormal.
Right. And they call him Professor Paranormal. And, still, I of course I read his book, but, a couple of his books, but I really wasn't, direct. I didn't have any direction. You get an idea, okay, here's a parapsychologist's point of view. Here's a science point of view. I picked up, parapsychology handbooks, field manuals, just trying to understand what's going on. But if you don't have any direction, if you don't have somebody teaching you this stuff, it's kind of hard to figure out on your own. So, because, like I said, of the pop culture way of doing things. So I decided to recently go back to school. I retired from my job. My wife is now retired as well. And I saw I actually wrote the Society for Psychical Research in England. I'd like to really get certified in some of this stuff. To actually, I do all this reading, all this studying, and I actually would like to get or produce some, certificates to get trained in some of this stuff. So they directed me to the Rhine, and they said, "Hey, there's courses coming up in the Rhine." I said, "Okay, cool," and I enrolled into a course being given at the Rhine by Professor Auerbach. Called Apparitions, Hauntings, and Poltergeists.
Yes.
And I am telling you now, I had a good idea on how things work, but the way he presents it, it's so amazing. Light bulbs just went off my head. Things started to connect now. Things are starting to connect. So, yes, now I'm getting a good foundation on what it means to do a professional paranormal investigation, how to know the difference between the different types of situations, anomalous events that you could be presented with, to know the difference between them and to understand what's causing it, because sometimes it could be a living, breathing human being causing the things that are happening and not even realizing it, and that makes a lot of sense to me. And the training that I'm getting from Professor Auerbach is it's priceless. You can't even put a price tag on it. It's really enlightening. And I've learned a lot. I'm like 3/4 of the way through this course. And now I'm going to start taking more courses because I enjoyed it that much. So, even in the use of psychics, I used, I had a few psychics that I thought were extremely great. It felt like when those two were together, if you were near them, I know that happened to me because all of us have a certain psychic ability.
True.
It's very small or, it's very large. But every time I was with these two ladies and, one was in her 70s, the other one was, in her 40s. And when those two were together, it was like magic. And when I was near them, it was like the environment became enhanced to me. So I guess it kind of leaked and spread out, but it's amazing. It's amazing. And of course, I'm learning how to utilize psychics in an investigation and how great they can be.
Well, they can, especially if they are not challenged by the fact that you're seeking validation for what they're getting.
Well,
using instruments and tools.
Right. We have all these instruments and stuff that we use, but really are not ghost detectors.
Right.
You got your K2s, your tri-field meters, your this meter, your that meter. None of these things are detecting ghosts.
No, but I'm a great believer in the voice recorder to validate what I'm getting when I'm out in the field.
Even that. We're learning that that can be also manipulated by someone in the room.
It can. But I trust it more than other tools.
Yeah, it is a tool to back up human experience.
Yes.
The biggest tool and reliable source of information is a live, breathing human when it comes to an investigation. And the more information you get from the more witnesses, the better picture you can get as to what exactly is going on. Human detection is better than any mechanical detection you could ever use. And that's what I'm learning as well. So, if you have an experience, say, okay, there's an apparition being, a consciousness that's intelligent, and you're attempting communication with it. And at